Many people are familiar with the term burnout, but very few actually know what it means. Having experienced it myself, I thought I would never get my life back. In this video, I share what I learned from my burnout and explain how you can best deal with it. Yeah. So what exactly is burnout? My doctor does not like the term because it's actually quite vague. Most people imagine it means you no longer feel well, have no energy, and can't function properly. Since it only affects workaholics and perfectionists, you won't be affected by it. Or will you? I'll explain how burnout developed for me to show you how dangerous it is. Burnout doesn't come suddenly. It develops slowly and goes unnoticed for a long time. By the time a diagnosis is made, the peak may already been reached.
First, you notice the fatigue. But this is easily attributed to poor sleep, which is a reasonable explanation given that the quality of your sleep deteriorates due to nighttime rumination and having too much on your mind.
Since I was experiencing menopausal symptoms, I naturally attributed the fatigue to that too. I was also irritable and impatient. At one point, I would lose my temper over the slightest little problem. On top of that, I felt depressed and sad, and even the things that had always helped me to relax were no longer enjoyable. I also had severe concentration problems, partly due to a lack of sleep, which led to a decline in performance and increased the error rate, especially at work, of course. I was aware of all this, but I put it down to menopausal symptoms. Ultimately, I was completely mentally and physically exhausted, and I was on long-term sick leave. Burnout is not just a case of feeling bad or not being in a good mood. It is a severe physical and mental exhaustion. I never thought that my body could stop functioning altogether like this. An example, around the same time, a former national soccer goalkeeper, Oliver Kahn, published his memoirs in which he described his burnout. I read an excerpt in which he described how he crawled up the stairs on all fours. Welcome to the club, I thought, because at that point, I myself was not longer able to climb the stairs to the first floor without pulling myself up on the railing. Sometimes I would sleep for 12 hours straight. However, because of the bad quality of my sleep, I didn't feel any more awake after that. As a result, I couldn't concentrate on anything, not even the simplest task. I had to write down everything. This caused me great difficulties at work. I had no resistance to colds anymore and was constantly catching them. Exercise was out of question because of the colds, but I didn't have the strength. And then I developed back pain due to the lack of exercise. All I wanted to do was sit and stare at the wall. My doctor called it functional depression. How did this even happen? I'm not a workaholic or a perfectionist. As I said at the beginning, burnout builds up over time. It's the result of long-term stress, not a short-term spike. In my case, it was a combination of stress from work, the increasing care of my parents, and the associated mental strain, and my attempts to change my professional future. I was torn in 3 directions.
That's not unusual. Many people, especially those my age, have a lot on their plate, caring for children, parents, family, as well work. That can quickly become overwhelming. When you're used to managing everything well, it's hard to notice and accept that this is no longer the case. It's especially difficult when you do not have anyone to whom you can hand over some of the burden and responsibility.
The first turning point for me came when my father was admitted to a nursing home due to his worsening dementia. This was not an easy process and was a deeply traumatic experience for me. My mother then moved in with him to take care of him, and I had to clear their apartment alone, completely alone. Disposing of my parents' apartment was physically exhausting and mentally demanding. I was disposing of a large part of my family history and my own history. That was tough. After that, I couldn't function anymore and was put on sick leave. Problem identified, samples banned? No, unfortunately not. My doctor wanted to send me to a health resort. A burnout treatment in Germany lasts an average of 5 weeks. Now I said, I can't leave my parents alone right now. And that was true. My support was absolutely necessary. So I dragged myself on. It was a stupid idea. I was sick again and functioned poorly until the second crash came.
My somehow getting through the day phase lasted 2 years. Then last year in early summer, my father died and I lost my job at the same time. I took care of my mother and the paperwork and then finally said, I can't do this anymore. I was at the end of my rope. I applied for a health retreat, this time ready to be cured from the ground so I could get back on my feet for the long term.
Unfortunately, my application was rejected. After the third rejection, I gave up to frustration. But I had already tried to get myself back on my feet. I took some time off and didn't immediately look for another job. Instead, I tried to build myself up and motivate myself by doing things that were very important to me. But I overshot the mark and took on too much again. I lacked guidance and support on what and how much was good for me or bad for me. What did I learn from this period?
Number 1. The body does not lie. You have to take its signals seriously. You have to learn to recognize these signals and interpret them correctly. Number 2. There is no shame in seeking help in good time, no matter who it comes from. Don't let things get out of hand. Number 3. Make it clear to those around you that you are not at your best right now, not as an excuse, but to create transparency. Do not pretend that everything is still easy to manage. Number 4. You have to learn to compromise. Does your apartment really have to sparkle with cleanliness when you do not have even the energy to get out of bed? Setting priorities is inevitable. You can't do everything. Number 5. It's absolutely necessary to set aside time for your own well-being, whether that's exercising, spending time outdoors, or taking a hot bath in peace. You must defend these me times at all costs, from others and from yourself.
Burnout does not disappear completely. I was shocked to discover that I now react more quickly to mental or physical exertion, experiencing severe exhaustion once again. Therefore, I must remain mindful and continue to take good care of myself. Here are my 5 tips for dealing with burnout.
Don't let it get that far in the first place. If you find that you have more to do than usual and no time for adequate self-care, urgent action is needed before the situation escalates. First, To even notice that something is wrong, you have to learn to be mindful of yourself. The best way to achieve this is to establish fixed routines that enable you to check in with yourself. Keep a journal. Use keywords, but be specific. For example, a sleep journal or a food journal. This will help you to quickly notice when stress is preventing you from living a healthy life. Don't let others plan your life for you. Plan it yourself. If you notice that you've already been caught, pull the emergency brake immediately. Set clear priorities to avoid getting bogged down and increasing your workload. Above all, take time off whenever you can. If a medical retreat or a relaxing vacation is not an option, therapy could be a good alternative. There you can learn techniques to help you become more resilient. You can also simply get rid of what is weighing you down. Change your perspective. How things have come to this point is largely down to your attitude and inner mindset. Therapy will naturally address this, but if that is not an option, look for a support group. Learn from and benefit from the experiences of others.
I haven't fully recovered from my burnout yet, but I'm slowly getting back on track. I need to accept that it could happen again if I do not take good care of myself. Have you ever been in a similar situation? I would love you to share your experiences with me and the other viewers down in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful and encouraging, please like it so it reaches out to others too. Bye bye.